So this video is about painting Wargame Tanks. I'm working on some Shermans for my Flames of War. This video will focus on the Shermans I'm painting. If you guys want to see the bolt action Germans, then feel free to leave comments down below. I'm going to be using a lot of MIG ammo product for this video. If you'd like to buy some of the products that I've used, you can get them from our friends at Fox One Hobbies. You can see their information in the description field down below. We're going to start out with the U.S. Armor camouflage set, as we're going to focus on Shermans. I'm basically following the painting guide in this other MIG product called Painting Wargame Tanks that I reviewed a couple videos ago. And if I can think about it, I'll put an annotation maybe right about here. You can click on, check it out. So let's get started.
So the model we're using, these are 15mm tanks by Plastic Soldier Company, and they're the wet stowage variety, and I've primed them up with a new primer that I tried out. This is MIG's surface primer, and I'm pretty impressed. It goes on, I mean, it's good coverage. It's like a lot of the other primers. Great coverage. I don't know much more I can say about it. Great coverage. Use it. And they're not glued down or anything, so I can pop those off if I need to. I'm also using the MIG Ammo U.S. Armor camouflage set. I'm going to put a little camo on my Shermans. Looks like so. Also, don't forget, if you're going to use your airbrush, make sure you get a nice respirator. This is a 3M I picked up on Amazon for about, I don't know, 20 bucks. Start out with the olive drab dark base. I'm going to spray that all over the tops of the tanks. After that coat's done, you're going to have some very olive drab looking tanks. Not much to write home about. Moving on, we're going to spray the utmost top areas, giving it a little bit of a highlight with olive drab light base. At this point I figured, you know what, I'm tired of holding these things with my hands. I'll just put some silly putty on a paint pot and slap the tank on top, paint it like that. After everything's dried, something a little like that. So now we're going to put down some of this MiG 37 light mud for the camo pattern. This is what we got so far. It looks a little stark, the camo does, but as we weather it, it'll really knock that down, so just hang in there. So what I did after the camouflage coat is I came in and used the microsol and microset to apply the decals. Got decals on it, on all of them, and then after the decals are dry, I went through and hit them up with Tester's dull coat. So now that that's dry, I can start doing a detail wash So what we'll do is use my silly putty and paint bottle holding apparatus, and we'll start applying the enamel wash. I'm not going to get too crazy with it, but we want to use it to bring out some of the details. Again, don't sweat it if you get somewhere you don't need it. We'll be going back over this later and cleaning some of this up. So what we'll do is go ahead and take this Vallejo Model Air Steel. I'm going to go ahead and paint the some of the tools that are on the deck of these while I'm waiting for that one to dry. Basically what I'm doing on these is I'm painting the shovel and any of the other tools, like it looks like an axe there and some pry bars and stuff. So I just went through and painted that. I'm also going to take some tracks wash and wash the tracks up. Kind of gives them a rusted up appearance. These are battle-worn Shermans. At least they've been in the field for a while. I tend to I go back and forth on all my paint jobs. Kind of bounce between colors. Although I'm doing these guys pretty much in like an assembly line type fashion, because I kind of want to get them done. But for the most part, we're just slapping washes right now. Some tanks may look cleaner than others. Maybe that tank commander, he really abuses his tank and pushes it to the limit. So now I'll take some mineral spirits and I will use this brush to kind of clean up some of the pooling. Like, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see, right? See how it's pulled up a little too much there? Clean that up with the brush, touch up a couple spots, and then we're going to do some streaking. I'll be using the dark streaking effects. Just kind of working in. What I'm talking about on that. See how it's all built up there? So we just take it, kind of work it in. Use the brush to feather it out. This is just an old brush I got in a kit from like Hobby Lobby. Kind of blend that out and just work your way around the model. when you get it to a point where you like it, move on to the next one. Okay, so this is what we got so far. Streaking has dried. Still looks kind of rough. But our next step is going to be to add some pigments to it. So I got some pigments. This is burnt umber. And this is, I don't know, like a yellowish tan color. I use this palette pretty much exclusively for pigments. A little bit of alcohol in the well. And this is just an old brush. It's got it in a pack at, I think, Michael's or Hobby Lobby. So what we're going to do is do a kind of a mix on these. First thing we'll do is put down some of the brown pigment. It doesn't really matter the order. And we're just going to kind of mix it in up top. Again, it looks horrendous now, but and set that one aside. I like my tanks to look gritty, like they've been out in the field. We put some miles on them, you know. Yeah, if you're messing with this pigment, make sure you do it in an area that you're not going to get in trouble with your significant other, because this stuff goes everywhere, as you can see. And just on the top area, just put a little bit of the lighter color pigment. Not doing a ton of it. Just enough to give it a little bit of variation. Because when we add the alcohol, this stuff will all kind of spread. It'll all blend in. And it will look fabulous. Amazing. Maybe. It's kind of a feel thing for me. I've done or used pigments on several models in order to achieve this dirty, gritty look, and it's always kind of a back and forth thing, just like my painting. Never really stick to a real regimented color scheme, or especially when dealing with pigments. So I've loaded the brush up with alcohol. I just go in and dab it on. And the pigment just kind of flows into recesses. Brush also picks up a little bit of the pigment. Where is it? Pigment Fixer by Mig. that we'll use after this process is over. So every now and then take the brush and you can use the brush to move the pigment around. Let's just say I got too much on there. And you can actually use it to kind of sweep up the pigment. Again, it looks like a hot mess now, but it actually looks a lot better after all this stuff dries. So the alcohol is still drying in spots. For the most part, this one's good to go. So we're going to take a makeup sponge. I think I got a pack of these at Walmart for like, I don't know, $2, $3. And we're just going to go in and just touch it up. Just in some of the raised areas. Get some of the excess off. See, not much came off. That one's pretty good. You're just looking for areas where it might have pulled up a little bit too much. It's been my experience that the alcohol really sets the pigment in there, but not enough for gaming. So what we'll do after this is done is go in and spray it with the pigment fixer to make sure it's in there where we want it. My experience, dull coat kind of gives a dusty, not a dusty, like a foggy effect with pigments. After getting the pigment fixer, I will use this from now on to fix all my pigments. I'll just spray it through an airbrush, or you can brush it on. That's kind of what we got so far. Nice dirtied up Sherman. We're going to do a couple other things. We're going to paint up the commander. I've got one in each of these. These guys are pretty much going to be my commander tanks, I guess. Or maybe they've got the top open here so that they can get some fresh air. I don't know. Maybe some guy farted in the tank. I don't know. So this is a graphite stick. It's basically a graphite pencil. I'm going to take it and we're going to go in and hit some of the areas that might be worn metal, or bare metal. Just in a couple spots. And the wheels. And you can do as much or as little as this as you want. I just tend to hit a couple areas. Apparently I need to glue that back in. So after that's all said and done, I have something like that. What I'll do is I'll go back in and paint the commander. That'll be pretty much it. So I've read through the whole Painting Wargame Tanks book, and for the most part, I'm happy with the way these look right now. I'm going to hit them with the pigment fixer to make sure they're good and the pigments are locked in. And I think my next batch I'll go in and start doing some, chipping in addition to the pigmenting and everything. There's a lot of additional steps, including color modulation and all kinds of stuff that you can do in that book. But for what I'm looking for right now, this is my first batch of Flames of War tanks that I've done. Pretty happy with the results. I'm sure there's things that I can improve on, like, yeah, lots of stuff. But for my first batch of tanks, I'm pretty happy. So we'll do some still shots, and you guys let me know what you think. Of course, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't. Tell your buddy, tell your friends. Check out Fox One Hobbies, of course, and let them know Engineer Jeff sent you. There is a coupon code in the description field down below that is good until the end of June 2015. You get an additional 5% off your order. So check them out. And we'll see you in the next video.